Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Ashton Williams coming to you live again with another amazing episode of the Melanated Travelers Podcast. And for those that have not listened to the show before and what we're about inspiring the diaspora, inspiring the culture to travel the world. We have amazing guests like I'll be introducing here shortly to share travel tips, to share inspiration, and just to share just genuine travel stories to get y'all to navigate this place that we call Earth. But before we get started, I just want to make an announcement. I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this show today. The sponsor of this show is Going. So for those that don't know what Going is a website that you can go on to find all the travel deals, whether that be domestic or international. You can select up to the free version. You can select up to 3 airports that would direct you to amazing travel deals and amazing destinations. For those that are interested in that, the referral link will be down in the show notes. So, without further ado, I want to welcome a guest. I want to welcome Jasmine Smith, aka Jazz is Serving. How you doing today? Awesome, awesome. So we're gonna dive into it. So Jazz is she's a person. First of all, I told her outside the studio that I was a fan already, and I'm always a fan. And I just love her message and how she goes about her content, the way that she just inspires and just promotes travel. Not only promotes travel, but also promotes a different path that some people may be afraid to go on. Right? She's a full time digital nomad. She's a passionate travel content creator and storyteller, dedicating to, empowering the Black millennial women to explore the world. That's something that's truly inspiring. And she loves to, in her content is to create, confidence in true authenticity. Like when you look at her content, comparing, it's not a knock at anybody else, but she does her own thing. Her content is authentic and is awesome. Y'all need to check it out. Her information is going to be in the show notes as well. And then at the end of the episode, I'll give her time to shout out all her social handles. So like through her platform, Jassisserving, she likes to blend humor. She likes to bring practical advice and encouragement to make travel feel accessible, affordable, and also inspiring. So she has a very, what I would call a keen eye to storytelling and a deep commitment to building community. She not only inspires, us to wander the world, but she also wants to foster like, meaningful conversations when it comes to different topics that we may not know, right? Because we're gonna dive into it. Some of the places we already shared, like for instance Colombia, like for instance Cali. Like a lot of people don't know about that area, and when you travel the world and you see people that look like us, it's some kind of way we find similarities. So without further ado, I want to welcome Jassisserving to the show. Welcome to the show.
That's it's a hell of an introduction.
You boy,
I was
little something, little something, something, little something, something, little something, something. So, man, I'm excited to have you on today, and I always like to start off with mindset and tapping into that subconscious mind. All right, so let's dive into the brain of Jazz. Can you tell us like what sparked this journey for you to say like, you know what, I want to start exploring the world. I want to start, promoting travel and just being a part of that community.
Yeah, I have a background in education. I was a classroom teacher for a couple of years. I still teach as a freelancer virtually, but I did not have a degree in education. So my first couple of years of being a teacher, I really was just learning on the job. I was learning as I went, which required me to work like 60 hours a week every week. And I was like, this is not the life of a 22-year-old or 23-year-old. And I was like, I have to do something to maximize these vacation times because, as a teacher, you get, a decent amount of time for holidays and things like that. And so I started traveling my second year of teaching as a way of to care for myself, basically. And as I would teach, similar to our conversation previously, I would be like, where the black folks at? Where are the black folks at when I travel?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the people that look like me at these places that I'm enjoying? And I really want to see other teachers. It really started off as me showing teachers my experiences of what I was doing with my breaks, and in hopes that if they needed an outlet or a way to balance out that long work week or those 60 hours, that this was a possibility for them. And as I traveled, I realized that I preferred to do that versus being in the classroom
Mm-hmm.
all day. And so that really sparked me seeing it as a possibility of something that I can do regularly. And it was up from there pretty much.
Oh, it was up. It's up. It's up. So let's talk about that's interesting. I think you're the first teacher I've ever had on the show. And something, I'm gonna just say this. I'm a hater. I'm a hater to teachers. Straight up. Because man,
Why?
my cousin, man, look, shout out to my cousin back home. Man, he be texting me. He texts me. He be like, I'm just chilling. I got the month off. I'm like, bruh, I would be,
Man,
I
you
would be
work
in
for it
Asia
though.
somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like first of all, shout out to the teachers because they don't get enough love.
Mhm,
I just get shout out to the teachers, man. Every teacher that impacted me, and I'm pretty sure people that's
mhm,
listening could think about teachers that truly, impact them as well. So first, I do want to appreciate you for that as well, like going
thank
into
you.
that space because teachers just overall in our country are not truly appreciated like they should. So
And
thank
we
you for
should
that.
pay teachers more.
Oh yeah. So let's talk, man. Let's talk about it. So like, how did you? What was your first like when you got into that particular career field?
Mhm.
Where did you go and how did you go? Like how did you navigate that? Did you just like look at a map and say like I want to go here, or did you kind of like have like some preconceived notions like I want to go here?
Yeah, my first place was to a country where my best friend was going to medical school, which is St. Martin. I have traveled a couple of places before teaching, but this was like me like being intentional, setting out on a journey of also solo traveling because majority of the time she was in school or she was in the hospital or she was studying. So majority of my experience within the week of being in St. Martin was me exploring on my own. I rented a car and drove around on the opposite side of the street, by myself. Went to the beach by myself and did a lot of things on my own. And I was like, okay, it was like solo traveling with training wheels on because I knew my friend was there. And St. Martin is a small island, and I was able to feel comfortable doing things, major things on my own. And then I went to New York on my own, which I was like, okay, let's go domestic. Okay, you went somewhere, spent part of the time on your own, but let's go somewhere domestic and spend the whole time on your own. So I went to New York for fall break, and I was like, this is the life. I can get up when I want to. I don't have to like coordinate with somebody else's schedule. It's all about what I want to do for the next couple of days. And I was like, this is it. And then maybe a month later, I went to Paris by myself for a week and I was just on a roll. And the thing is that I would look on Skyscanner because my brother had told me about this app called Skyscanner. And I was just putting in the dates that I had off for, a break. And I would see the cheapest flight and I would be like, yeah, that's where I'm going. And so I was able to go to Paris for like $500 for Thanksgiving, like the week of Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
$500 round trip. And I was like, that's what I'm doing for my Thanksgiving break. And yeah, I just kept rolling like that, looking for the cheapest flight and going with that place, that destination.
How was Paris? And I think before I lead into my next question, I'll just say this to the listeners. Um, you have to have an open mindset, and you kind of like need to like rule out expectation. People need to understand that monuments and landmarks like the Eiffel Tower were built at a time where you know during that time that was the grand thing.
Mm-hmm.
You will see a lot of things on social media now, kind of debunking the fact of the Eiffel Tower, or it's not that spectacular and this and that. But I still, from a person that has a former architectural background, I
Yeah.
still respect monuments like that. So I'm pretty sure you checked that out. How was Paris? How was it?
Okay. I love talking about Paris because I guess it's an unpopular opinion now, like 2025, but I love Paris down. I love Paris so much. I cannot wait to go back. And I really got to be honest, Aston. I had no intentions of ever stepping foot on Europe. Like, I never grew up thinking like, oh, I want to go to Europe. I want to go to Greece. I want to go da da da. My brother would be like, oh, you should, since you're traveling, you should go to. I'm like, I done learned about white people my whole life. I don't need to necessarily go into these white countries to learn. But like I said, it was the cheapest place for me to go. So I was like, okay, let me try it out. And when I got there, it was cold as hell. Didn't like that. But that's the only con that I have. That's the only con that I have about Paris. And my Paris experience was not the traditional Paris experience. I never went to the Eiffel Tower. I never like I went to the Louvre, which was that was perfect. But I really had a black ass time. I really had a black ass time in Paris, and I went to Caribbean restaurants. I went to
Yeah.
Senegalese restaurants. I went to a jazz and R and B club. Like I always seek out black experiences everywhere I go, and I'm always looking for the African influences in places that I go, even if they're not, majority African diasporic countries. But I can't wait to go back to Paris. I can't wait to find out where James Baldwin was drinking his coffee and his tea. It has so much history for Black folks that I really want to delve even deeper. But I feel like the Black girls should go. I feel like Black people should go to Paris and just really take a deep dive in its history.
How was the food? Did you like the food?
I went. The crazy thing is that France, and particularly Paris, is like that's where people are certified as in Michelin star restaurants. Like
Hmm.
they are the food capital of the world. I did not have a good French dish my entire time there, but that Caribbean food, 10 out of 10. That Senegalese food, 10 out of 10.
The
Like
mocktails?
the the ethnic food is unmatched. So like I said, my experience is a little bit different. If I went the traditional path of Paris, I think that I would have been disappointed.
Well, if you like food, I gotta slide her in there. If you like food and you get a chance to go to Portugal, look up the
Okay.
Culture Cam, man. You gotta check out how she does food tours in Portugal.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing. Shout out to Culture Cam, man. Shout out to Culture Cam.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah. So let's shift gears. Like, I'm always people probably get tired of me talking about my favorite country, but I gotta ask you. I seen that you had a chance to go to Petronio Alvarez Festival in Cali.
Mhm, mhm.
Cali is Cartagena, like shout out to my friends. Look, don't come for me. Don't my Cartagena and Medellin friends and Barranquilla friends don't come for me. But Cali is my top spot. I love Cali.
Mm.
Cali to me is like the Atlanta of, Colombia, you know. And I love it. I love it. So like let's dive because I haven't had a chance to go. I was supposed to go last year. I'm definitely going this year in August. But how did you like the festival? What was like your first takes of Cali?
I love Cali a lot. It was hot. It
Yeah.
was much hot. I went in August and it was much hotter than what I thought. And I live in a very hot city, so I was surprised about that. But I was really, really impressed. The thing that I didn't know about Cali is that it's not a very touristy city at
No,
all. Like,
that's why I love it.
yeah, it's everybody thought I was one of them, and I liked that. Everybody thought I was
Hmm.
Colombian, and I had to be like, slow down, suavemente, please, porfa, when they were talking to me because it was like, oh, that's a black Colombian, so we can do this exchange, and it's because they don't see many people that are not Colombian in general.
Hmm.
So I really appreciated that because I feel like I was getting the authentic experience of Cali. The festival was phenomenal. It was like over 100,000 people there, and I did not expect that. It was like a true festival, and it was just filled with so much culture, so much fashion, so much good food. When I tell you the aunties was cooking they butts off, I mean fried fish galore. It was just really good. It was so black. It was so
Oh yeah,
so
that's what I
black.
love about the city. That's what I love about it. And did you get a
Yeah.
chance? Did you get a chance to go to Rio Boulevard on on a Friday night.
Yes, I did, and
That
it
I
was
love
fun.
it, man. Everybody out there dancing. Like share that so people know about
Yeah,
those Friday nights.
yeah, Friday nights, everybody goes down to the river. And it's not like a big grand river. It's really like a stream going through the city. And everybody was down there drinking. Everybody was down there having a good time. I felt safe. Like you said, salsa, it's the salsa capital of the world. So salsa is embedded in that city. Everywhere you go,
Mhm.
everything that you do, you're gonna see or hear salsa music or see salsa dancing. They have a salsa museum there. And I'm a salsa girl. I love Colombian salsa. So I really had a good time learning about the salsa history, but also, going to a little salsa club, getting a little 1-2 step in. But the people there also were super, super kind and really proud to share history about the country, but also that area in particular.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is like when these salsa songs start to connect to you in real time because you've been there, like Cali Pachangaro, Oh Yeah Maravilla, or in
Mhm.
Cartagena Rebellion with Joy Arojo. Like it hits different whenever your foot touched there and you've been there and you could kind of relate to the song. So that's absolutely awesome. I wanna dive into something else. That's something that you taught me while looking
Okay.
at your content. Like I was in Peru, like we talked offline. I was in Peru for
Mhm.
like 2.5 weeks, and I loved Lima. But one of your reels, I was looking at one of your reels, and I didn't know this. That they was having a parade in Lima, and you seen a black man, a black saint.
The
Can
Black
you dive into that story? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was my last day in Lima. I was about to fly to Cusco, and I was like, let me go downtown because I hadn't been downtown yet while I was there. And it was a Sunday, and I walked past a beautiful church, and I was like, dang, there's a lot of people out here in the streets. I mean, I know it's Sunday, but oh, it was like flooded. The street was flooded, the block was flooded with people, and everybody had like these little pins on their shirt. And I was like, oh, okay, that's funny. That looks like a very dark person on there, but I'm probably just tripping. And then I stayed around and I saw them like literally lift up like a life size figure of someone and was like singing songs and burning copal and had flowers and everything. And everybody was just so enamored. And then I looked closer. I did not have my glasses on. So I looked closer and I was like, I think that's a black man. I got a little bit closer and I got in the crowd and I asked someone, who is this? And they said, oh, it's Saint Martin, Saint Martin. And I was when I tell you my face probably looked like how I felt, which is flabbergasted that there was a black saint because I had not heard of a black saint ever in my life. You from Louisiana, and I know down in New
Yep.
Orleans it's a little bit more, common
Hmm.
to be familiar with black saints. And I had so much pride. I had to go buy me a pen. I said, I want to put my pen on too. I want to rock Saint Martin too, but it's so cool. So I researched him and I found out he was a really well respected saint, a biracial saint. And he was just known for his servitude, and also his willingness to advocate for Black folks, which even solidified why I needed to take a piece of him with me. But yeah, it was really cool.
Gotcha. One of the things that I really liked about Peru, I tried it. I don't come for me, Peru. I liked it, but it's just the ceviche wasn't my thing. But yeah, I tried it. I tried it. It was yeah.
My first ceviche in Lima, my Airbnb host was like, I got the best spot for ceviche. It's a cevicheria, and like they got all types of ceviche. I tried this ceviche. I said, you lied. This was horrible trash. Why are there avocado and capers on my ceviche? And then in Cusco, I did a gourmet cooking class, and I made my own ceviche. And I said, oh, I get it. I get it. Now
Hmm.
now I get the hype. It made so much sense then. I guess it's the way you prepare it that makes it, good or not.
Yeah, you talk about culinary Peru's up there too. Like okay, so you went to Cusco. Did you go?
Mhm.
Did you know that? Well, for people that don't know, Peru, the way they sit, close to the equator. is their seasons are opposite of the U.S.
Mhm, mhm.
My ass, I went in July. I didn't know. I went to Cusco. I said, "Oh my God." Being from Louisiana, I'm not used to this.
Yeah,
Obviously now where I'm at in Nebraska
yeah,
now,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I was in Cusco. It was 15 degrees. I was freezing in my Airbnb. I didn't have the right gear on. It was just I couldn't breathe. It was bad. How was your experience in Cusco?
It was an adjustment. Okay, I did not research that part either. I didn't know that the season was the opposite until I got there. But I live in a place where it's hot year round, so I never really know how my body is gonna react to going to other places in general. But Cusco was cold when I got there, and I went in November, so I really don't know what's. I don't even understand the weather patterns, but I know that my body reacted immediately. I was like, oh, I don't belong here in this type of climate because the elevation is high. Like Lima is at sea level, at zero. And then you fly to Cusco, which is like, I mean, yeah, you fly to Cusco, which I think is at like 5,000 above sea level, 5,000 meters above sea level. And when I got there, I was okay. But when I woke up the next morning, I was sick as a dog. And I had booked a tour, a full day tour. So I was probably sick and tired the first half of the tour. But, they have their things like coca and munya that you can take that'll adjust the body. But it was an adjustment that I don't think that you will know how to prepare your body until you in it.
I ate a guinea pig while I was there.
You had the pet pet, the guinea pig.
Yeah,
How
girl.
was
Look,
it?
look, look, look. I'm from the city, but I'm from that country too.
You
We
okay?
eat we eat roadkill where I'm from. We eat
You,
roadkill where I'm from.
in Louisiana, y'all be like, is it good deep fried?
It actually was good. Could have used some seasoning. Could have used
Yeah.
some Tony. I'm about to come out with my own seasoning. Y'all look out for it.
Oh,
But could have used a little Tony. Could have used a little Tony on it. But it was good. It was good. It was good.
okay.
It was good.
The food in Peru is out of control. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
That they
The
eat
best cinnamon roll I ever had in my
on
life
top
was
of
in
it.
Barranca.
Really?
Best cinnamon roll I ever. You know what? Y'all remind me. I'm gonna put that in the show notes too, and I'm gonna put it in all caps. Best cinnamon roll I ever had in my life. Here's the restaurant y'all need to go to when y'all in Barranca.
I
Changed
love
my
it.
life. And I got some homies that could attest to that.
Mm.
Shout out to Jordan. He's another one of my good friends that I had on the show, and he had a chance to go to Peru after me, and I recommended that particular restaurant. And he was like, "Dude, you're not lying. These cinnamon rolls on point." Like,
I think I needed that
man,
recommendation.
look, I'm telling you. I'm very interested in like knowing. You talked briefly about your transition from being a teacher and going into a digital nomad. What does a typical day, or what does the life of, I guess it depends on what people do, but I'll still ask it because people was asking me before we started. Like, what's the day in the life of Jazz? In the digital nomad. Like, what day in the life looks like for you now that you transition from being a teacher into full time digital nomad?
Yeah, my day-to-day life is quite boring, to be honest. Like it's very simple. Like I wake up, have my morning routine of like meditating, journaling, and then I sit down at my computer and I go to work. The cool thing is that I get to work at some really cool places, some beautiful spaces. Sometimes I can go to the beach. Sometimes I can go to a beautiful cafe, or I can
Mhm.
sit in nature and work. But a lot of times it consists of sitting in front of this computer. Um, like I said, I teach. I mean, yeah, I teach as a freelancer part time, and so some of my time is spent doing that, or I'm recording content a lot of the times, or editing that content. And then when I'm not working, that's when I'm able to really explore the city. And I'm able to go to some classes. I really enjoy learning different dances. So I go to a salsa class or African dance class or something like that. I really enjoy movement because I'm sitting down so much. I'm like, immediately close the laptop, let me go move my body. Um, So a lot of body movement. I try new restaurants, try different food. I'm a new foodie. I just got inducted to the Foodie Society like a year or so ago. And yeah, honestly, a lot of times I be planning my next trip. I'm always on Skyscanner or Google Flights or Airbnb trying to figure out where I'm going next.
Speaking of Airbnb, can you dive into that? Because a lot of people don't realize that yes, they have Viator or
Mhm.
um what's the other one I'm missing? Uh you can but a lot of people don't know that Airbnb you can actually look for experiences and they have tours on there as well. I know that's my go-to spot, when
It
I start to
wasn't
look
for
for
me
tours.
for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was late to the party, really late to the party, like last year, like
That's all right.
like last summer, because I was a Vita girl. And still, I still love Vita because I do think you have more options on Vita. But when I compared the prices for Vita compared to Airbnb, I was like, wait a minute now, these this is this is some competitive pricing here
Yep.
with
Yep.
Airbnb. And you have all your things in one place. You can toggle between your trips and the experiences. So you're right. Airbnb is definitely the experience is an untapped gem for sure.
So how do you go about immersing yourself in a culture like you've already alluded to it, but I'm gonna get you to dive just a little deeper for
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
Because you alluded to it when you were talking about Paris, but like how do you go about like divulging yourself in the culture, finding similarities and differences, in different
Hmm.
countries and communities? How do you navigate that? Especially being a solo traveler.
Hmm. For me, I'm always looking for things that align with who I am and what I like doing. Like I said, I enjoy movement. I enjoy dancing. And every culture has some form of dance that they use to express themselves or represent themselves. So I always try to go and seek out things that align with that. So finding a dance class on Airbnb or Viator, and connecting and meeting people there. And I feel like when you meet the people, then you're able to get connections or connected to other things in the city or in the country. Because most people, at least the people I've encountered, are really excited to share with you about their country, about their culture, about their city. And they're eager for you to try out these places that they enjoy and that they recommend. So I always start with something that I like to do that I know that would connect me with local people, and then asking them questions about their city, their culture, and they usually navigate me to the right place. That's when I'm in it. But when I'm not in it, I get on TikTok and I'm like, what the people doing in this country? What are they doing? Where do I need to be? Um, and then food is a great way to connect with people because at these restaurants, they're like, oh, did you enjoy the food? You should try this place. You should go to this place. And then, of course, if you know the language, that helps a lot. Um, and I only know one and a half, and the half is English. No, I'm kidding.
How has your journey been with Spanish? I'm still going strong over here. I'm trying to go strong. I'm getting close to being, they got these A level, B level, C level, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna say intermediate Spanish. I can converse.
Hmm.
How has that been? And what's been some of your strategies to learn?
Oh, so I do take Spanish lessons, but really the thing is just practicing it with people, like in the Uber, in the restaurant, in passing. Because the biggest thing is that I know a lot of words, I know a lot of conjugations, but if I don't use it, I freeze. I freeze and all the words
Me
just
too.
fly out of
Me
my
too.
head.
I get
And I'm
nervous. Yeah.
Me too. I get so nervous because I'm like, man, I probably sound crazy right now. And I think the biggest thing for me to overcome, and I saw Trevor Noah talk about it on the Daily Show, is that you really have to approach language like a kid. And I should know that because I'm a teacher. But I really have learned to just stumble my way through the language because I am an infant when it comes to the language. And so it's going to come out
Hmm.
that way. And just being okay with sounding like a toddler until it's time for me to progress to the next level.
Got you. Got you. So like I'm very interested to know like what countries? Because you've been to a few. Like, what country like surprised you um the most? And if it's not just one country, but what's been some of the surprises of some of these countries that you've been to? And then I also want to talk about something that surprised me. Also, looking at your content
Mhm.
is just how your driver, this previous reel that you posted when you was in Mexico, and that was very inspiring as well. But how did you like when you go to these countries? Any surprises that kind of like shock you in a good way?
Yeah, in a good way. I would say two. One would be Paris because, like I said, I had no expectations. I just said, "Ooh, it's a week and $500. Sounds great to me." I had no clue that I would go on a journey to see the black side of Paris and have such a good time. So that was a beautiful surprise. Didn't know the food was gonna be that good because I wasn't thinking I'm going over here and I'm gonna have some bomb Caribbean food, or meet such kind people because people say that French people are rude, but when I got
Yeah.
lost and I don't speak French at all, and I would ask people like, "Please help me on the metro," people would guide me the way I'm supposed to, or be in a restaurant and I'm like, what should I order? And people would, give me their suggestions politely and in a kind way. And then the other place where I'm like, I feel like all black girls should go, surprisingly, is Iceland. I love Iceland so much. I had a ball in Iceland. They were super friendly, super welcoming. Randomly, Ethiopian population in Iceland that kind of threw me for a loop. Ethiopian and Somalian,
That's
but
like an Oreo crumb in a bowl of milk.
yeah. I was just like, now what is happening? And like in the airport and like the hot dog stand, they was just like, "What's up, sis?" And I was like, "Hey." It was such a genuine interaction. But Iceland is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It really was like a stopover trip for me to go to Italy from DC. So it wasn't like something that I was like, "Oh, I'm about to have a time in Iceland." I'm like, I just want to go to the pools, to the Blue Lagoon is what I really wanted to
Hmm.
do, and I got so much more than that there. The people were really kind. It's expensive now. It is expensive, but the people were kind. Like to see glaciers, and also to see like volcano ice. It's the land of fire and ice, and
Yeah.
it really feels like you're on a different planet. I recommend everybody go see it.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. You lead me to my next point because I'll be visiting Italy here. I'm going on I'm gonna just call it a birthday tour. I'm taking a 5 country tour for my birthday in May, and my first
Okay.
destination is Italy. Yeah, my first destination is Italy. Yeah, I'm going to Rome. Yeah.
Okay, that's really exciting.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Can't
So,
wait.
how are you? What have you thought about some of the things that you've seen about Italy online?
Well, shout out to Alama Perry Life. She lives there. And she kind of debunked a lot. So I think I look at Italy a little different. But everybody experience is different because she lives kind
Mhm.
of more so in a rural area of Italy. Um, but I think for me, culturally, I won't be there alone.
Mhm.
I'm truly only going to see the Colosseum. I wanted to
Mhm.
go to Venice
Mhm.
before that town. A lot of people don't know this. Venice in like I think like 40 years, 50 years, something like that. Eventually will be underwater. Y'all can look it up.
Mhm.
Fact check me. But I don't know. It's not something that would be like, oh, I want to go to Italy. I just don't have that. I don't know. Maybe you can debunk some things or just give us the real on your experience with it in Italy.
Yeah. So I went to three cities in Italy: Milan, Venice, and Florence. And Venice was cool. I think the Venice is probably the only city that I've been in, and I was disappointed because I don't know why I had high hopes for Venice, but also I went in their down season. It was rainy season, so
Mm.
I don't think I got the full experience of Venice. I didn't really enjoy the food, but I really appreciated the beauty of of the layout of Venice. It
Hmm.
really is a beautiful, beautiful place. But I think that's the place I was most excited about on my trip, and I was like, "It's cool. It's a place where I don't think you need to spend a lot of time. It's like you can go for a weekend and then, head out to somewhere different." Florence, I love. I feel like Florence is that girl of Italy. Florence is beautiful. It's beautiful views. The food was great. The ethnic food in Florence was excellent. The Indian food, um, the Chinese food, like all the food, the pasta, everything was good in Florence. The people were pretty kind, and it just feels intimate. But Milan, I don't ever have to step foot in Milan again. I was excited
Come
to
on.
go to Milan because it was Fashion Week, so I'm like, ooh, excited about that. But the way people looked at us, the way people like handled us and engaged with us was
Hmm.
it just rubbed me the wrong way, like in ways that I haven't even experienced in the US. And I was like, oh no. Even like going into luxury stores, they didn't say anything to me. They didn't greet me, didn't ask me if I needed help, nothing. Going into
Wow.
like spas, like luxury spas, it would be. I
Hmm.
have videos of like I'm taking videos of the area, and I can see like a woman's literally just snarling at me or like looking at me up and down. It was just a really weird energy with the people. The country, I mean, the city is beautiful, but the people were just a little different.
You know, one thing that I'm proud of, I'm proud to be black. And one of the things
Mm,
that excites me about my color is that when you look at the color black, what every other color in the world, if you put it all together, is what?
it's
Black.
black.
So we demand attention, we command attention
Mm-hmm.
without giving attention wherever we
Mm-hmm.
go. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Me being a petty person that I am, I'm gonna show my ass in Italy now. I'm about to show my ass in Italy. They're gonna be looking at me like this mother.
As you should.
Yeah. Oh, I'm about to show out. I'm about to
As
show
you
out.
should.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But you know, and that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Is just like certain countries, the looks, and some of it is not personal, but some of it could, it could be uh looked upon that way. Especially like when you talk about these other countries in Asia, and they look at you kind of crazy. I think my experience was in El Salvador. In a good way though. They were very welcoming. But when I went downtown, I mean, like I was the only speck out there. Like people was like, "Who? Yeah, he's definitely not from here." But they,
Yeah.
they were very friendly. Um, I just want to ask you a genuine question, like, how has your when you look back over your life these past few years of taking that leap in a digital nomad, just like just your heart in general, like how it's been feeling lately.
This month, 2025, I feel really good about it. I feel really, really good about it. I feel um hopeful about the possibilities of this year in the future. Um, like anything is ups and downs. I always look forward to the ups and know that the downs are coming. Um, but my heart feels good. I'm very proud of the way my heart is postured right now because I've been working really hard to posture it in a certain way.
Hmm.
Um, and to focus on what it means to like really show up in love, to exude love, and to also reflect that back on myself. Um, and I feel good. I feel really good. Like going into this year, 2025, I was like, I don't know, for various reasons. I was like, I
Right.
don't know what to expect, but it's really starting really well. And I really just hope that this year is what each of us needed to be. And I hope that I'm doing my part to provide a perspective of possibilities for folks because that's just what I want to do. And I spend a lot of time concerning myself with like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing here? Like I get to wake up another day and somebody else didn't. It had to be for a reason. So am I pursuing or showing up in the way that I'm supposed to serve? And I feel good about that right now. I don't always feel good about that, but as of today, I feel good about it.
Well, you definitely provide value, and serving is in your name, girl. That's why you
You
put it
got
like that. So I'm gonna give you your flowers. You truly are a beacon of light in this space and in this community. And I think leading into my very next question is that the fact that the diaspora and also people in our country don't truly travel as much.
yeah.
But a person that's on the fence right now, that
Mhm.
if you can like give that person any kind of motivation or any kind of message, what would be your message to them to say, the ones that are on the fence about like getting out there and exploring? What would be your message to them to today, just to encourage them to pursue exploration?
Yeah, my message would be to believe that you can. That's always the step one. When people ask me, like, how can I be a digital nomad? How can I start traveling? And the biggest hurdle is to believe that you can. And once you do that, I'm a firm believer that steps will be laid out in front of you. Like, they'll just start, opportunities will start appearing. Possibilities will start appearing. Money may start appearing. But it's when you choose to consciously decide to do something and believe it will happen, then it will, because you deserve it. I feel like we deserve the world. When I say we, I mean Black folks deserve the world and to be able to see the world. And when you choose to go to different places around the world, you get to see a little bit of more of yourself and other people. And I feel like you learn more about yourself when you travel sometimes than you do the actual cities and countries that you visit, because it's it's an uncomfortable experience to go to some place that has a completely different culture than you, but you be able to relate and you be able to learn and identify something new about yourself. I think it's very, very empowering, and it builds a lot of trust, a lot of self trust in your abilities and your decision making skills. It's the best thing I feel like somebody could do for themselves. It's one of the biggest gifts that they could give themselves.
Definitely, definitely. No, I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing just sharing your mindset with the
Mhm.
people, and you definitely truly express. I want to take this time for you to like just shout out anything that you want us. How can we support you? How can we follow you? How can we support your cause or your business? Like, just I want to take this time to just throw all your social handles and anything else you want us to follow. And for those that are listening and watching, don't worry, you don't have to write it down. I'll have all the
Mhm.
information in the show notes. But I just want to give you this time to just shout out anything you want to shout out.
You. So I am Jassisserving on all platforms. So on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. I just started a new YouTube and I dropped my first video yesterday. And it's me sharing my experience of why I moved to Merida, Mexico. So I've been living in Mexico for a little over 2.5 years now. And so I get a lot of questions of like, well, first of all, where is Merida and why did you choose to move there, especially as a Black woman by yourself? So I share my insight and my experiences over the last 2.5 years on that channel. So this is my first video on this channel. So I would, excuse me, love for everybody to go and support that video, and give me feedback. The biggest thing that people could do for me is to send me a message or a comment on a video telling me what they would like to see more of or what questions that they have so that I could better serve my community in the best way possible. And I want to thank you so much, Aston, for inviting me and sharing your platform
No, no.
and us being able to have this very honest and open conversation. And I'm very, very proud of what you do. And so to share this space with you is a gift. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem, man. I'm super excited. Like I said, this won't be the last time we talk or collaborate. I'm really looking forward to what you're gonna be doing this year.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that. But y'all already know my motto. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I'll see you at the top because the bottom is just too crowded. Peace.